Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk to you about a product where the returns are poor. In fact, returns are almost pathetic. It is fully taxable and it is the most inefficient way of managing your money. Then why am I even recommending it, or why am I even talking about it? That I'll come to a little later. There are certain actions that you take while managing your portfolio. One is to improve returns. That's fairly obvious. You move money from a savings bank account to a bank fixed deposit, you are improving returns. Or you move money from one asset class to another, hoping that that asset class will do better. That is improving returns. The second one is to reduce risk. Taking term insurance, for example, is reducing risk, or shifting from an equity fund to a balanced fund, right? So that is a risk reduction technique. This is to overall improve the return that you get, in the sense that you reduce your losses. If there is a fall, you will lose less. Moving from a mid and small cap to a large cap, you are hoping that when the market falls, the large cap will fall lesser. So these are ways to protect your capital, protect your life. Therefore medical insurance, therefore term insurance. None of this enhances your return, but hopefully, because the fall will be less, your overall returns over 20, 30, 40 years keeps improving. The third is to move towards something very simple, simplifying your life. So you invested in a particular way in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 70s. Somewhere you're now, say, 75, and you want to say, I don't want even so much of complications, so I need even lesser, I may compromise on the return, but I want sheer simplicity. The money should come into my account, I should not have to apply my mind, and I should be able to withdraw through a phone call, or through an ATM, or through my credit card, or whatever. I should be able to have a card which I go swipe and be spent, or from where I can withdraw cash. So I want to get into a very simple portfolio, and I do not want any complications, mid cap, small cap, post tax, pre tax, nothing. I don't want anything. So moving towards simplicity. So that is also an aim, because at that age you don't want anything else. You have enough money. You know that even if you keep your money in the mattress under your bed, you still have enough. Then you don't have to worry about returns. You don't have to worry about tax and things like that, right? So I'm going to talk to you about a product which nobody talks about, also because it is very inefficient for the investment advisor. Investment advisor makes almost nothing by selling this product. So a product with the investment advisor doesn't want to sell you. The insurance company, it's only insurance companies which can sell this. So insurance companies are not too keen to sell it. In fact, most people gravitate towards LIC if they want this. So what is this product that I am talking about? The product is annuity. Sorry, I have spoken a lot about annuity in the past, so this is just one more video. I'll come to why annuity and why now. So annuity is very inefficient. If you put money away today, you may get sub 5% and taxable. So that's very inefficient. Also, you might be tempted to say, I can buy a GSEC for 30 years. Of course, you can buy a GSEC for 30 years, get interest, pay tax, as efficient or as inefficient. But the question is, will you be able to buy a GSEC every year, right? So therefore, annuity. And understand one more thing, that when your financial advisor tells you that now that you have retired, you have to be more conservative in your asset allocation, you have to put more money in debt and less money in equity, he's not really saying much, right? Because if you see the US, 1980 to 2021 has been a secular bull run in the bond market. In the sense, interest rates fell from, hold your breath, 18% to 1.8%. That's the kind of fall which has happened. So it's been a 40-year bull run for bonds. And on the other side, equities are very uncertain. There is a lot of fluctuation happening in equity. So what does one person really do? Well, you have to first of all go from an asset allocation model to a retirement income model, because clients and advisors and viewers, all of you have to understand that what you need may not be income. What you need may be cash flow. Suppose you need 5-6 lakhs of cash flow every year. It does not mean that you need to have 25-30 lakhs of income, pay some tax, and then reinvest the money and then use 5-6 lakhs out of it. You don't need to. You just withdraw 6 lakhs out of your kitty. That's enough, because I'm assuming your income is completely within your control. You're not going to work somewhere, so you're going to draw down. So if you keep a bank fixed deposit, you will earn money out of it, and the bank fixed deposit will bank fixed deposit will pay interest, and on that you will pay tax. But if you kept money in, say, an income fund, or you kept money in a balance fund, or whatever, maybe a short-term income fund, you can decide to withdraw only that much which you need, and on that you may pay lesser capital gains tax. You may pay capital gains tax instead of paying the regular tax. So suppose you were to withdraw 35,000 rupees or 45,000 rupees. Let's say your annual monthly expenses are 50,000 rupees, and you withdraw 50,000 rupees from a debt fund which is more than 3-4 years old. Then it serves exactly the same purpose. You will have enough cash flow to meet your needs, and the other income keeps increasing. So you have a portfolio worth 2 crores which has gone up by 20% last year, so it has gone up by to 40 lakhs, so it has become 2.4 crores. But you don't need that cash flow. The cash flow that you needed is anyway coming from your debt fund, right? So understand the difference between income and cash flow. What you need is cash flow, and as long as you keep reducing your withdrawn income, you will pay less tax. So if your wife were to withdraw 5 lakhs and you were to withdraw 5 lakhs, you would almost be tax free, right? Why would you want to withdraw more than that when your expenses are, say, 10 lakhs a year, or maybe your expenses are 7 lakhs, so in withdraw 3.5 lakhs each, right? So how much of cash flow you need is what you have to plan. That brings us to this question of why buy an annuity now? It's a very simple answer. Let's say you are dealing in equity shares. You bought Tata Power at 30 rupees. Last week you were lucky enough to sell it off at 260 rupees or 255 rupees. So you have made a lot of money. So let us say you bought for 5 lakhs and you sold for 35 lakhs. That's what has happened 7 times. Actually 8 times. So assuming you sold it for 40 lakhs. Now this is huge money in terms of for many people. So pay the tax on that. Whatever is the tax, there may be a little bit of indexation, so you pay the tax away on it. It is going to be long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain. So let us say you got 30 lakhs. Now this 30 lakhs, where should you invest? Fairly obvious that you look at the markets and say, oh, markets are so tempting. Or you go and buy an annuity plan for yourself. Maybe you're 50 years of age and say, I want this pension to start when I am 70. Right? That's when I want the pension to start, or I want the pension to start when I'm 65. The advantage is you are doing the pricing for that today, not that the markets are in great shape in debt. Maybe interest rates are going to move up. The money when you get is going to be taxable, but however, you are just locking in on your gains. What is the other thing that you can do by selling off these Tata Power shares and booking 30 lakhs of profits? It's simple, repay your home loan. But assuming for a minute that you don't have any home loans, you don't have any immediate expense, you don't need to buy a car, you don't need to buy a house, you don't need anything. You don't need anything immediately. So this 30 lakhs goes back into equity, or it goes to buy an annuity, or you say, no, I am very conservative, I will put money in ultra short bond fund, and as and when interest rates increase a little bit, I will go and buy an annuity. Fine, that's also a fantastic decision. I am not getting into timing the market, but I am saying if I have to buy 2 crores worth of annuity over my lifetime, so why not do 30 lakhs now, and maybe after 3-4 years, when I find interest rates are attractive, I again sell some equity and buy some more annuity. I can always do that. I don't have to, it's not a committed expense. So I bought 30 lakhs in 2021, I buy another 30 lakhs in 2025, and I buy another 1 crore in 2027 because I like the interest rates. Now I'm not buying because I like the interest rates. No, I don't like the interest rates, but I'm booking in my profit. I've made so much of it. It's a vulgar amount of money. I made 700% in 1 year. Why not take the profits and buy an asset which will never go to zero? Therefore, annuity, very inefficient. So why am I doing this video now? It's because I've been talking to some advisors, and I realized that most advisors will come and tell you, let us do an asset allocation, have more money today in debt than you have in equities. Yes, it makes sense. Say you're 60 years of age, you're reallocating your asset, it makes sense. However, what you need after your retirement is an income certainty or a portfolio which generates an X amount of cash flow for you, not even amount of income for you, the cash flow. You need 5 lakhs a year, you have a 5 crore equity portfolio, that's perfectly all right. You're going to get 5 lakhs maybe as dividend, but still there is no certainty. So when you buy annuity, you build some certainty into your retirement income. You build an income where you say this will never go to zero. You have a spouse who is just not interested in any of these things. You tell her, look, here is an annuity plan which pays for my life, and after my life it will pay you, but the amount may be reduced. Therefore, I am buying one annuity with in my name with you as a residual beneficiary, and one I am buying in your name with me as a residual beneficiary, because we do not know who will go first, right? So therefore you build this in, you build in, like I'm perhaps repeating myself, building some income certainty into your retirement portfolio makes a lot of sense. Remember also, when you are investing in debt or in equity through mutual funds or directly into those assets, you are taking some risk. The market risk is on you, it's not on the advisor. The advantage with annuity is the market risk is not on you. So if interest rates go to zero, or if the markets tank or anything happens, for a few years at least your income will be protected, because it's a very, very conservative number. They're giving you say 4% in a country where you are sure that the gilt will give them at least 6%. So why are you paying them such a huge premium? Simply because of certainty. What happens if you live till the age of 105? What happens if you live till the age of 112? Right? During those times, you will not know how to manage your money. Perhaps, I don't know how alert you will be. You don't know who is going to manage it. You are worried about integrity. Your children may not be around. You live too long. That's your problem. Children may die young. So with all these uncertainties around us, we need to build some certainty into the portfolio, and the annuity does that. Yes, it is inefficient. But look at it this way. You sit with your financial advisor, or your financial advisor sits with you and asks you this: what is the objective of your portfolio, right? That's the first most important goal setting that you have to do. And the objective is very simple. I should be able to live well within my means, and I want a regular retirement income which should never be less than what I need. And here you have to define what is retirement income and what is cash flow. What you want is cash flow. Make it the most efficient cash flow, right? Converting an income from regular income to capital gains is one of the methods of reducing the tax liability. What is your return about, what is your view about equity returns and debt returns and gold over the next few years? Your view, your advisor's view doesn't matter, right? So ask that question and find out how much you want your spouse to get after your death. Does she need the same cash flow? Does she need less? Will your children be involved in some part of the portfolio management, or will they be completely hands-free? Are they going to be living in a different country? Do you expect any inputs at all from your children in managing it? Or do you have some friend's kid who is already who is a financial advisor, who is willing to help you, especially during your old age? You are 72 years of age, you have this 22-year-old kid who is just starting off. Will you team up with that kid to simplify your portfolio, right? How much do you want to provide for long term care in case something goes wrong? How are you going to compensate the people looking after you in your old age? Could be your children, could be your nephew, could be your niece, could be your friends' kids, right? But they need a compensation. Maybe you have a very good house in a prime location in Mumbai or Delhi or Chennai, wherever, and you say, okay, this house will belong to you, I don't have children, or I had one child, the child has died, or I had two children and the children have died, right? So any of those things, I don't need to have any interest in my assets after I'm gone, so I will give physically, I'll give away this asset to you. I know at least 2 people who have done that, right? So check out all that, see how much you can simplify your portfolio, and therefore annuity, and therefore now. Now buying an annuity is because you're locking in your equity gains. In 2025 or 24, I could be making a video like this saying I don't think markets are in great shape, but interest rates are very nice. You're getting 8.5% on the G-Sec, so therefore buy another annuity. So you bought 30 lakhs now, adjusted for inflation, you will buy 50 lakhs in 2025 or 2026, whenever interest rates are attractive, right? Thank you.